everything has been psychologically war gamed, where unless the public completely wakes up and rejects it all wholesale, it will succeed. And, of course, we know that God will intervene at the end. And it is laid out because the group doing this is not the supreme being. It is a very nasty group of entities that the Bible tells us about, a military force. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of everything. It's never coming back. The prosperity's never coming back. It's all over. And they're going to, by increments, put the pressure on, get you to give up more rights, and then they'll take a little pressure off. And then they'll tell you, give up more rights, and then pressure will be taken off. But then always it'll be put back on even tighter. That's the psychology of this takeover. And to watch Bill Gates on all these TV shows saying it's never coming back, it's going to be really hurt bad, and he starts laughing and giggling with Bilderberg Group members. These people are openly evil, and they're not even hiding it. And they tell you, oh, you're going to have 5 shots a year just for COVID, and they're not going to help you. Oh, and vaccines do hurt you. We used to tell you they didn't hurt you. You know, they do hurt you. Oh, and these new ones change your DNA, and we don't know what's going to happen, but we're just doing it. It's the psychology of Stockholm Syndrome, where they are shocking you and torturing you and getting you to do outrageous things, knowing you're going to bow to them and become a coward out of fear and rationalize what they're doing. So this is all a very deliberate operation. Like when they say there is no such thing as Antifa. There is no violence in the streets. Give us $25 billion at the post office so we can rig the election. If you don't give us $25 billion and have illegal mail-in voting, then you are a fascist. And we've got to have an emergency session in Congress during a campaign never before done. So it's all going over the edge. So the most important thing you can do, and I can do, is understand what Netflix is. Think about that. How there's really nothing old on Netflix. It's all new and all bad and all debilitating, so that everyone forgets the past. And now all the shows, they're wearing masks, and the video games and the movies, suddenly it's permanent. And if you'll have a suffocating mask over your face that rots your teeth and doesn't protect you and gives you hypoxia and all the rest of it, and you don't get enough air, and it lowers your oxygen by 20%, that alone causes brain damage long term. They can do anything. And they admit, Gates came out and said, here's the future. Forced inoculations, tracking everywhere you go. And sorry, we're going to get rid of the tourism industry pretty much. And that's just, we're going to have a post-industrial world. So the headline at Infowars.com today is, the lockdown is never going to end. Welcome to the post-industrial world, which is the post-human world. And it's all in Agenda 21. It's all in Agenda 2030. It's all public. And they even say on the news, oh, it's for the earth now, and it's teaching us to redistribute wealth, to the ultra-rich. And the public has lost God, so they've lost a mooring. And so mental illness and insanity is spreading like wildfire. And guard your soul, folks. That's all I can tell you. Guard your soul above everything else. Fear not who can kill the body, but he can kill the soul. This is just going to be one hell of a nightmare. But in the end, all of the delusion will be removed, and every head will bow, every knee will bend to God. Now, there's the headline. The lockdown is permanent. Welcome to the post-industrial world. Monday Live. Bill Gates has publicly announced that the lockdown will never end, and forced inoculations are on the way. And you watch that video with him on Fareed Zakaria. Let's play it next segment. Fareed reads his script back at him and says, it's really bad. It's going to last years. People need to get used to it. And Gates starts getting really excited. And if you read the fine print of what he says, he goes, well, it never goes back to normal. But in the industrialized areas, you're going to be allowed to go to a restaurant by the middle of 2021. And, but, the smaller businesses are going to have to be closed forever, and only travel that's essential is going to be allowed, and you're going to have to take a microchip to do that. And it's all being announced by his surrogates And then he comes and announces most of it on TV, but then has his surrogates say, oh, but you don't know Jeffrey Epstein, and oh, you don't want to put a microchip in anybody. And Bill Gates is like, that's right, because it's not called a microchip. It's nanotech. And if you actually read the tech publications, it's everywhere. The future of tech is in your skin. Everybody's going to get it. It's just a bandage. It's so easy. And it just puts little chips into your skin, and they work their way in. Yay! Imagine if aliens landed and said, come, if you want your food, put on this patch. It's easy. I'm putting something in you to help you. It's just a tattoo. You know, tattoos are fun, but you can't see this one, but the computer can. Everything's fine. We're your friends. And now, oh, in Europe and in China, when you show up at the grocery store, they weigh you to decide if you're too fat to get food, and it's all on your social credit score. But then when they first do it, they apologize. Oh, we don't know why the government had people out at the grocery store. It was a test gone wrong. And then, then the next time, well, yeah, we're doing it. Because, see, they know when they announce, hey, we're going to be there weighing you at the grocery store or the restaurant, you're going to, that's crazy. I'm going to fight that. And they go, oh, we're doing it. Oh, it's an accident. And then that way, okay. And the next time, oh, we are doing it, but not to everybody. You get a coupon if you let us do it. And then, oh, everybody has to do it. And if you don't want to, you can go sign up over here. We put you on a list. Oh, you don't want the vaccine? Sure, just get on a list over here. Oh, sorry, we're sending contact tracers to your house to take your kids because you're not giving them the inoculation. It's all been battle planned. But they know how to get our laziness. They know how to manipulate that. They know how to incrementally get us to put the chains on ourselves. So the chains are going on, and the stated plan by the United Nations and by the Club of Rome and by the Bilderberg Group and by the Davos Group is a post-human world. And they're now externalizing the hierarchy. They're externalizing the method. They're externalizing the inner cult vision of, hey, like I told you in Endgame, low level, they say we're going to kill 80%. Oh, you're part of the 20%. You'll be all right. And then higher level, they go, well, it's really about 90. Dr. Pianka wants 90% killed, head of the biology department at the time at UT. And then one of his graduate students that works at a level 4 bioweapon lab in California, she wrote an op-ed saying, listen, Pianka's too liberal. Humans are a parasite. We're going to transcend our bodies and merge with machines. And then she works at a bioweapon facility. So see, that's not 12 Monkeys, a fictional movie where the exterminist animal rights activist wants to depopulate the earth and he works at a bioweapon lab. They really work at the bioweapon labs, and they tell you, we're going to kill your ass. And Bill Gates says there's too many of us. And then Bill Gates is our doctor now, and it's, Bloomberg, AP, Reuters, New York Times, CNN, ABC, NBC, every channel, BBC. It's just even in China. Bill Gates is on the TV. And he's like, and you're going to have this, and you're going to take the inoculation. Adults get 5, children get 2, and there's going to be new plagues. Terrorists are about to release it. This was really a drill. And then everybody's smiling and laughing. And Stephen Colbert, you can tell, is totally scared. When they all agree to him, because they're all now know, they were never going to get rid of 80%. They're going to kill everybody. Because the way this thing works is one person gets to live. If there were 2 New World Order globalists in a tower, they would kill each other. Now you're entering the mind of Satan. Satan doesn't want slaves. Satan wants you dead. The ultimate control is to kill you so that you cannot develop and then die and then your spirit transcend to the next level. It needs to put you into an artificial reality, totally make you satanic and evil, kill your body to trap you with it forever. And Satan wants to be able to operate in multi-dimensions, and so we are the gateway for Satan to run that operation. And so that's why all these fools, the left thinks, we're locking things down to defeat Trump. That's just one facet. This plan has been on the shelf for decades. They admit it. They're implementing it now. They're tailoring it for politics, but it's for everybody. And it's the left that's losing their jobs the most, that's in the highest crime, that's living in hell. But again, like Stockholm, they go out and rage against people in the countryside or people that have a farm. You see all the news. Yeah, the pieces of crap live in rural areas. They're out in sunshine and walking on their own property. Yeah, because their families were smart and didn't want to live in a big evil city. And they may live in a shack, but they're living better than the richest person in some devilish high-rise. And it's all going to be taken. So the move, I was a selfish person. I'd sell everything I got. I'd get plastic surgery. And I would run to somewhere like the inner mountain region of the western part of the United States, and you'd never see me again. I'd be 100 miles from nowhere, behind a hill, with a shack, and then a bunker underneath it, and with a radio, and a little farm. Gone. Because, and that's the wimpy thing to do, but not join Satan, but run and hide. And they're going to come there. The robots are going to come there. The drones are going to come there. And that's why none of the globalists are having children, because they're already scared enough themselves, the ones that aren't pure Satanists, and they know it's over. It's over. Well, you know what? I'm having more children if I can. I'm doubling down on God and on our children and on us, because I need to put them into the world because I love them so much, so that they are in danger to this, so I don't bow down to Satan, because it's their soul that matters. That's how you're all in. You don't hide in the ground. You stand up. Now, if you've got a family and it's your mission to protect yourselves and get out, and then support the resistance as much as you can. There's ways to be balanced about it. I'm just simply telling you, ladies and gentlemen, that giving up on society and civilization is what the enemy wants to really capture us and accelerate this. Satan's going to get his 1 year or so of power and going to kill billions of people. But in the end, they're going to be defeated. This whole AI thing's going down, and Bill Gates will pay. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Alex Jones. The websites are Infowars.com and Newswars.com. So here's how it works. When somebody gets straight A's across the board in high school, and they've got databases on genealogies and a lot of other things they do, you get approached to go to one of these advanced academies at a college. And then larger groups get tested there for aptitude. And then when you're about 15 or 16, they recruit you to be part of a scientific force trying to save the earth. And so you've been brought in, you're saving the earth, you're a good guy, and by increments, they have a psychological table where they walk you into the position by the time you're about 18 that you believe that we have to take control of the planet, we have to reduce the population because we're the ruling class, and that eugenics is the way to go because humanity is degenerating and falling apart. And then, of course, they don't explain to you that they're engineering the culture crisis and breaking up the family and putting things in the water to lower IQ and greasing the skids for the decadence that was already going to come in an industrial society that takes people off the land where they have to work to produce their own food. And so they didn't just build this industrial system by accident and make it to where babies sleep in cribs, babies get formulas, babies get vaccines, babies get removed from their parents, babies are disassociated, babies are basically more like robots by the time they grow up because they've been dehumanized. There was a track of the Renaissance, building machines, building science, building the Gutenberg press 500 and something years ago that caused an enlightenment. But parallel to the enlightenment was the dark force twisting the light so that it would be able to then get full control of us and make us dependent on it. And so now they are destroying the old Renaissance track and they're jumping us over to the train to hell. And that's really what I just wanted to get across to everybody, that lying to yourself about this and living in denial is only going to make it worse. And again, I read this stuff 30 years ago and found it absolutely wild and thought the elite's delusional. They really won't try to pull this off. But then I watched them pull it off. And then I'm like, oh, they're about 5-6 years behind their 2020 to launch the beginning of the post-industrial world, the depopulation, the end of the family, in the UK, they arrest you if you say there aren't unlimited genders, because they're going to have human robots. They're going to have clones. And they're going to say that they've all got rights because the government, the system will speak for them, and they'll be programmed by the system. The corporations want to build crops of humans as the machines, just like Blade Runner. But that's only one level of the deception. That's the technocrats, the transhumanists that want to live forever, being told, oh, there's too many people, they're dumbed down, we got to get rid of most of them. And then once we've gotten rid of most of them, you know, there'll be a new golden future. And it'll be like Zardoz, where we'll have these hunter-killers that go out and keep the population of the wild humans down, and then we're going to live in these advanced estates, more like in the ancient Greek times or Elysium. And you go, where did they come up with a movie like Zardoz with Sean Connery? And we can run some of the trailer. Well, that came out right after the Club of Rome created its secret report in the early 1960s, and by then it was public and they circulated it, and they made a movie about it. Now, of course, that was getting old elitist in the 60s to sign on to we're going to kill almost everybody and we'll hunt down the other people. It's like a Hunger Games original. And then we'll just be elites on our beautiful plantations and live forever. And so they kind of bought into that worldview. But now that you get closer to it, they go, nah, all humans are really parasites. We have to get rid of the species. Well, who is behind this? I mean, you don't just think another human's directing this, do you? This is Hitler squared to infinity. That's where all of this is going. And we're being completely and totally domesticated for that. And I can sit here and I can cover other news and I can talk about this or that or this interesting factoid or how they're not going to have the debates, they're going to be video conference. We knew that was coming. But it's all window dressing, ladies and gentlemen. That's all it is. So I sit there and I look at Bill Gates, what Hitler wished he could be. And I just sit here and I watch how the public's been turned so evil, like their masters, that it'll be a blessing when everybody gets killed. Because that's how this weird, sick Illuminati balance works, is they get us to be evil, they get us to be selfish, they get us to go along and say we're heroes wearing masks, they get us to bind our own destruction, and then by the time we are all destroying ourselves, they sit back and they laugh about it when they help set the whole thing up. And that's how they metaphysically think that they get away with it. And, you know, I've said this before. I can see their Darwinian, social Darwinian angles from a scientific perspective, but it's all false data because they're the worst people on earth. Their kids commit suicide at record levels. They're totally unhappy. I've been around some of these billionaire kids. I mean, the real ones, okay? You're talking cursed people, all of them. They're cursed, ladies and gentlemen. And Trump knows joining them is a curse. It's why he's not in bed with them. But he's got one leg with them, one leg out, because that's what it is to be on this planet now. And so you've got the twisted version of the hierarchy up on top, and then as you go down the hierarchy, it just gets more disgusting and a more stupid version of what's on top, to where they force those of us that are not part of the Illuminati to be in the same position, looking at our watch, knowing how bad it's going to get, and going right about now, they're going to release that bioweapon and wipe most of these guys out. Damn, I wish we could have woke them up. But let me just get below ground as quickly as possible and hope they don't send hunter-killer robots in here in 6 months to get me. I mean, that's basically it. We're all writing our own death warrant. I mean, listen, you're all dead. Most of you are dead already. They already put it in you. Submitting to the incremental bending of our will until we're more akin to silly putty than men and women must be resisted. This is not a social contract where there's a neighborhood pool and everyone agrees not to take a dump in it. Because now there's a phenomenon where adults just crap in pools. People are so lazy and selfish. That's what decadence is. When your culture is being fastidious and having a really good social contract and really standing up for each other, then deviance becomes the thing. Like take Japan. You can leave your Rolex watch out at a restaurant, come back in an hour, it'll be sitting right there on the table. When they have earthquakes and tsunamis, the crime rate goes from almost nothing to zero. People don't take advantage when things are tough. But they have shops and things and degeneracies I didn't even know existed, because as the culture begins to break down, as the family breaks down, they are turning into bifurcated people where they have this evil side, this devilish side that is into total degeneracy. And the left sells this argument, oh, you got to feed that side. No, you don't want to feed that side. You want to be conscious of that and realize what it is and that it's not part of your real system and that you have all these other destinies to be carried out that are going to take self-sacrifice. And it's because you're not sacrificing and you're not ascending that your body then starts to want to kill you. And you start to be depressed, you start to hate yourself because you're not being strong, you're not standing up, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. You know, plants don't grow and live very long in zero gravity. They just spin around in circles. If a plant doesn't get some wind on it, it never becomes strong. But they want to raise us inside these little greenhouses for the act of fully and completely conquering us forever. And there was just a horrible article. In fact, it's in the stack from yesterday. Will you guys grab it for me? How China defeated the coronavirus and what they did right. And it's a big shot of a domed city in China where the party elites go and live outside of the smog and dead bodies and roaches and open sewers. And it's all about how you want to get into that dome city. They're the place that gave us COVID, but they're the dome city. They're the answer. See, it's an inversion of reality. And Google and Apple and all these groups, it turned out for 6-7 years are secretly buying up all the land in Denver, in Toronto, in Austin, and other areas, and also middle of nowhere, West Virginia, to build domed cities. There it is. To build domed cities so that you can be safe from the COVID. Oh, you'll get inoculated, you'll get face scanned, you'll get checked. And then, of course, COVID will never make it into the city because they'll lie and say it never did, because they can call it COVID if they want. They can not call it if they want. It's like New Zealand saying, oh, we haven't had one case in 3 months. Oh, we had 4 cases. We're suspending the election and locking everything down. The whole end game is putting us into an artificial system. Why do you think the CIA-funded seminal film of George Lucas, THX 1138, was about? That was his student film that he then remade with Robert Duvall in his first major movie. Because you have Robert Duvall in your movie, and it's you're living underground with the psychiatry tyranny over you, and they're breaking up, they're ending the family, and everyone's force-drugged, and everybody has shaved heads, and everybody wears the same uniforms. And why are they living underground? Well, you learn, Lucas didn't put it in the film, but in the postulate that, of course, he didn't come up with, there's been a bioweapon above ground. So this is a civilization 100 years after it goes underground. And then you see it again in the movie The Island that came out in the early 2000s. And everyone thinks that, oh, they're lucky to live on the island because the bioweapon killed almost everybody on Earth. But once a week, somebody wins the lottery to go from this island that's not very comfortable to this luxury island where they're repopulating the Earth on this island where you can finally be outdoors again. And there's hundreds of these books, hundreds of these movies to pre-program you. Predictive programming is what it's called, because even though it's scary, when you sit there eating popcorn and eating a hot dog and drinking a big old, large, delicious Coca-Cola, and you're watching clones getting grabbed and harvested, and because they're really clones, and you're watching all this tyranny, but you're sitting there eating a hot dog, your brain at the cellular synapse level associates it as non-threatening. It's like being raised and, watching tigers eat zebras all day, but you eat pizza and drink Jack Daniels while you watch it. You'd think, hell, you'd associate tigers eating a gazelle or a zebra as good, except it's going to eat you. So the slasher movies, the death, you're all desensitized so that when the real thing comes or your neighbor's being drug off, you don't say anything because it's just more entertainment. It's just more death. It's just more abortion. And so they tell you, yeah, we need to riot more. Yeah, white people are inherently evil. Yeah, we need to keep babies alive and harvest their organs. And there's a lot of money in that, hundreds of thousands of dollars. The mother makes the decision whether the child has value. She says it doesn't. We go, we are not resuscitating. The baby's alive. But the term is resuscitate. It's a legal term in the bioethics board of the UN. The death panels. But people get upset about that. That's Bill Gates. If we don't give that last year of health care to that older lady who's the patient, we could hire 10 teachers. But that's a death panel. And so people don't like it when I say that. And people clap. They're like, I get some money. I get some money. Kill the granny. But we're not talking about an old lady deciding to not get cancer surgery. We're talking about, no. He's training you that less is more. He's training you that we're not going to have an infrastructure anymore. You're not going to have police. You're not going to have doctors for you. That's for folks that have a high social credit score and are like rock stars that live in the new super cities that are so cool to be in, the dome cities. But, of course, the real establishment's going to be out at armored compounds, in northern Canada. That's really where they're going. They got some decoy facilities and stuff around the world, but they're up in Canada. They're being watched very closely. And none of them are going to escape. They're not going to escape their controller that wants to kill every one of them. I mean, they're under the wings of just absolutely